everyone, welcome to another episode of Amantya Podcast Series. The topic of today's discussion is Unleashing the Power of Robotics, a deep dive into robot operating system. So, what is ROS? Why is it being hailed as a game changer in the robotics domain? To help us understand these and more about ROS, joining us today is Amantya's AVP Engineering, Harinder Kumar. Harinder is an expert in the robotics domain and is deeply involved in the development of ROS here at Amantya. Welcome, Harinder. It's a pleasure to have you here with us today, and we look forward to an interesting session.
Sure. Thanks for having me here, Roina.
So, getting started, my first question to you, Harinder, is with the Industry 4.0, picking up pace. What role does robotics play in accelerating industrial automation?
Okay. So, Industry 4.0 has a lot of other players other than robotics as well. But of course, robotics is an important aspect of it. So, Industry 4.0, if we talk about the essence of it, it is all about making the machine smarter, making them autonomous as much as possible, and utilizing data as much as possible and as efficiently as possible for decision making. And if that happens on the edge, you reduce the latency and all. It is much more beneficial in a lot of other use cases, right? So robotics makes uh, your production efficiency, your production lines more efficient and smarter. It also helps in so there are different use cases of robotics. If we just talk about production machines, of course, so basically people are working on robotics related to industries, at least related to the production environments, for many years now, and they have advanced to a very good level now, not just in the production. They're also very efficient now in quality analysis and automating stuff at that place. But still, there's a lot of scope because everyone is doing their bit in their areas of expertise. There are a lot of heterogeneous robots in play in the industry environment, and that makes things more difficult than at some times more difficult than making them easier, smoother, and efficient, right? So robotics, of course, is very much needed. Without this, achieving Industry 4.0 will probably be a difficult uh, thing to do.
Okay. So, what are the challenges currently being faced, in the robotics and industrial automation domain, and how can these be overcome? You spoke to me about a couple, but if you could
Yes.
elaborate.
So I think that's the biggest challenge that I just mentioned to you, uh, because uh, if we talk about an industrial environment, there are a lot of machines in play in different production environments, right? And each manufacturer tries to automate their machines, right? Utilize robotics into that, and they all do it in their own way, right? So they make uh, the co-working of all of these machines, uh, and uh, okay, so the co-working becomes really difficult to achieve if an industrialist want a homogeneous environment where he can monitor and control and get better utilization of overall installation. That becomes really difficult. Making the machines talk to each other, it becomes really difficult because each one speak a different language. Their interfaces are different, their specifications are different. So that heterogeneous environment in itself is the biggest challenge. Bringing in some kind of common behavior, the common understanding, the common language is very important. There are advances in this which has been happening in recent years. There are different frameworks which people are working on, which have come to certain level where they can be employed in industry on machines, and they are giving results. Right? So people are moving towards that as well. That should help, but having a varied set of machines with different behaviors and managing them together is, of course, a big challenge.
Moving forward, this is where we start talking about ROS. This is, I believe, one of the frameworks that is helping overcome these challenges. what is ROS and why is it being hailed as a a game changer in the robotics domain?
So we talked about different machines, different equipments, basically, and the different behaviors, right, that they emulate. So, due to the same problem, Rose came into picture in Stanford University, and I think in somewhere around 2010, 2012.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, this was to overcome the same challenge because even the developers, if we talk about the engineers who work on robots and there are various use cases that you want to accomplish. In digital age, we are quite fast at this moment. You want to write a new application, you want to solve a new problem, new use case. It's quite, I would say it's quite fast right now. From ideation to time to market, that's really fast. Okay, because you have a lot of frameworks in place, lot of assistants available, right, and lots of common languages. So there are a lot of reusable components there, and the engineers and in these scenarios do not need to understand how the computers work in itself, right? So they are just focused on the higher level application programming and solving just the use case. So the focus is clearly there, right? When we talk about robotics, this is again a full-fledged computer that you're building from very low hardware level to the application layer, and having engineers skilled in all of those areas is really difficult, right? That makes the innovation pace very slow, okay, because that skill set itself is very scarce, right? And you cannot expect everyone to be expert in all of those areas. What if we uh, kind of put some abstraction over the hardware layer, let's say, over the device layer, over the operating system, and then provide uh, a focused environment just for application developers and the use case specific engineers, right? So, and in that effort, ROS came into play. So the name says robotics operating system. It's not an operating system as such, but it's a form. It's a middleware, I would say, that provides you a framework, a lot of libraries, which allows you to write applications really fast because it provides you the necessary drivers, the hardware emulation, the control that you need over the drivers, over actuators, and a lot of other moving parts that you have in the robots.
So, and how do frameworks like ROS integrate with 5G technology and edge computing to enhance performance and connectivity?
Okay. Uh, so ROS doesn't only provide you an abstraction layer or just for the robotic processes. So it provides you interface for interprocess communication because ultimately, if uh, the robots do not talk to each other or do not talk to any other interface, it will not be a very good exercise to bring them together and achieve what we want to achieve collectively, right? So if you expect one particular robot doing everything in itself, it's not possible, right? So coordination is very important. So communication is a key part, and by default it provides a lot of good mechanisms to communicate over Wi-Fi, over the medias, wireless and wireline. Now it has support for telecom, interface as well. Uh, we have successfully integrated it with 5G, and with one of the customer we have showcased its capability. The low latency on 5G is really helpful, and that's what is actually driving it to communicate in 5G and be as efficient as it is in indoors and the outdoor environment as well. So not limiting it to Wi-Fi or wireline infrastructure, but giving it low latency wireless infrastructure, which can be used anywhere without the geological constraints, indoor or outdoor, anywhere.
Okay, now you've spoken a bit about Amantya earlier also, but moving our focus completely onto Amantya, what motivated Amantya to integrate ROS into its robotic systems, and what are the how is the company leveraging uh, this framework? What are its key capabilities?
So we have been receiving problem statements and the challenges that the customers were facing uh, from few big customers in telecom as well as in industrial automation. We received few. We looked around. We found ROS operating system as a good add-on that had the possibility of solving these issues. So we did a few prototypes in the first year. We directly interacted with the customers, did prototyping in their environments, right at those places in industry, and try to solve the use cases.
Any specific technologies that you're using to implement the use cases that you just mentioned?
So I would say there were many. There were many new things that we developed. And there were things that we utilized first time. So if you talk about something on the robot side, we wrote new algorithms. We wrote new drivers for the device side and embedded to make things more efficient, more smoother. We utilized RTK for precise localization in outdoor environments. We used LiDAR and camera together to detect obstacles precisely. And we, in fact, used multiple LiDARs in certain situations and use cases. And then the biggest thing I would say is we gave the robots the 5G connectivity that we needed.
So you've already mentioned a couple of industries and use cases. Any more industries and use cases where you're leveraging ROS?
There can be many. So, whenever you think about a robot, anything which moves, anything which thinks, right? So, the roles can be utilized there. So, whether it's in healthcare environment, whether it is logistics, whether it is anything, any machinery that you are employing in, let's say, disaster management, disaster recovery, in industries, right? Industries in itself is a big heterogeneous space, right? Where in every manufacturing unit you'll find a different machine, you'll find a different use case, a different supply line. So uh, you can basically apply it in many places.
So exciting times ahead for Amantya. So as we wrap up, Harinder, my last question to you is: how do you foresee the evolution of ROS, and where do you envision? How do you envision? Amantya's role in shaping that future.
So as I told you, there are things that we have done first time. So of course we are building on top of the capabilities that the ROSE provides till now, right? Uh, Now we are thinking about contributing back to the community as well. The new ROSE 2 that's coming, that makes things more efficient, more close to the hardware. Uh, the ROSE requires a real time environment, which was unfortunately not part of the ROSE offering first, but ROSE 2 is giving you that capability of the real time operating. Right? So, with that, we will be more efficient, we'll be resolving more use cases, we'll be helping our customers better.
Oh, that sounds like great times ahead. Thank you so much, Harinder, for this, very, very interesting and, interesting and insightful session. And also, great to know, the kind of work Amantya is doing in the domain. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me here.
Well, that's all for today, folks. Thank you for joining us. We shall be back soon with another interesting topic in discussion. Until then, this is Rohina signing off. Bye bye.